as labor organizers have targeted Churchill Downs, the corporate owner of the Derby, due to a labor dispute with the valets, of all people to have a dispute with, the valets. They have to park all the cars. They have to do everything. Why have a fight with them? But the valets are a unionized workforce represented by the SEIU. And these are the folks who take care of all of the horses, right? So, and they get them ready for the races. You know, you see them, they are very, very big part of what you actually see on your television screens for the Run for the Roses, or when you're actually there at Churchill Downs. So what's going on is that they're following strict racing rules in the care and preparation of these multi-million-dollar animals. Oh, those are my babies. I love horses. And they're working for an industry that makes money hand over fist. Yes, Churchill Downs makes billions, and they set a record last year in their billions of dollars, even when they did not allow people to come to the Derby last year as normal. So yet in the weeks before Derby, you know what? The valets had to walk away from the negotiating table over, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, a $27,000 in salary and benefits in total for the entire represented workforce. A negotiation which would cover valets for Churchill Downs and the company's lower profile race course, Turfway Park in Covington, Kentucky. As the union points out, and I'm reading right here, last year, which the corporation claims was a bad year due to the pandemic. Yes, they may not have had the opportunity to work last year, but that didn't stop Churchill from making money. And Churchill Downs posted over $1 billion in revenue, its second highest net revenue year in history. And guess what? The CEO of Churchill Downs, he was paid an extra $10.5 million. Churchill Downs pays in relation to the median salary of the corporation's other full-time employees is $404,100. So actually, Aaron and Nate and Ken, I think I'm in the wrong business. I think I need to become the CEO of Churchill Downs. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it pays way better than a volunteer podcaster.
Slightly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's an enormous amount of money. Good God. Yeah, 404 to 1, right? You know, you think back to like back in the 50s when, you know, capitalism was really humming along and the average CEO pay was something along the lines of, 12 to 1. So it's insane. Hey, so Nate, did you have a response to the story there?
Yeah, I mean, just to say that, I look at the Derby and Churchill Downs and the ridiculous amount of money that they're making. And I think of horse racing really as more like a wealthy person's kind of pastime. I know that, there's a lot of people who aren't wealthy that bet on it, but it seems to me like it's really affiliated with sort of upper crust kind of lifestyles. And I'm just wondering how is this wealthy person sport not paying enough for the people who are fueling it? And I just think it's classic capitalism.
Totally. Absolutely. I mean, what I want to point out is that we all have a stake in this for a number of reasons, right? So people watching this might be going like, why do we care what Churchill Downs pays their horse valets? Here's why. They have gained our legislature to the point that, if you remember that big fight we had during the session about the historic horse racing, I mean, slot machines, right? That was who owns those? Who gets to operate those historic horse racing slot machines, which are clearly slot machines. They're not pari-mutuel betting, right? They've carved out this niche so that people like Churchill Downs can make more money. Why do they have a historic level of wealth or level of income even during a pandemic? Is because they work every possible angle, right? And they have an amazing deal in Kentucky, right? So only 18% of the gross, the amount coming into these slot machines, only 18% goes out to the state. Most states pay huge levels, like 55% tax in Pennsylvania, 53% tax in West Virginia. We pay only 18%. And then of that, 10% goes back to the horse racing industry, so they can have bigger purses, and we can keep Kentucky as the crown jewel of horse racing nationwide, right? So they are getting it like, it's like coming and going. And I think the kind of conservative estimate was that we should be getting at least $100 million a year more in income into the state, so that we can pay for all the different things the state does. But no, Churchill Downs gets this amazing deal. So that's why we should care like what they pay their valets, right? Like they are like subsidized by us. And that's I think that's a problem. I don't know. Ken, what do you think? Okay.
Basically, I have something that I would like to add on that. Since this is the Louisville edition, I feel so honored today. Finally, Louisville on the kernels of truth. Can you all believe it? But I do want to say this. Also, they are spending over $900,000 from the city of Louisville's budget to pay for security for an all-around Churchill Downs. Okay, that does not come from Churchill Downs. They do not pay that. These are the women in blue, LMPD, and other security forces, and a lot of times the National Guard as well, to do all of this security around Churchill Downs. $900,000, almost $1 million. However, there are other societies, or what I can say, other communities in Louisville, which are very historic as well, where we would cruise down Broadway. And the motorcycle club Screaming Eagles, which was always in the Pegasus Parade, started that for the younger people and the West End people of Louisville, Kentucky. But the Metro Council here in Louisville said that they would not pay for extra security so that people can cruise or enjoy Derby and any other parts of the city but Churchill Downs. Now, also want to let you know, as Nate was saying, it seems like a rich man's sport or a rich woman's sport. Yes, some of it is, but some of us everyday people, we ka-ching, 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 thousands of dollars as we leave Churchill Downs. And the hat that Nate has on today reminds me of the infield. And if you all know anything about the infield, that's where everybody has fun. They get really drunk, they fall out. And in 2018 was my first time ever going into the infield. My son was with me. We had box seats, of course. And my son is like, let's go down there. And I'm like, I've never been down there, don't want to go. We went down there, had a great time for a little bit, and you can let loose down there. Really, you can. Back to you, Aaron. I just want to add that.
Thank you for that color. I appreciate that color addition. Yeah, so sounds like the little racism in Louisville and how they manage the Derby and the extra security and the events that get prioritized. Speaking of racism and the Derby, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of black jockeys and horsemen in the Kentucky Derby. So there has been some really fantastic reporting in the run-up to the most exciting 2 minutes in sports this week, pointing out the incredible contributions of the African-American community to this, keystone Kentucky event. The first Kentucky Derby winner, anyone know? I do, because I've written it down and it's in front of me. Let me tell you, Aristide, written by Oliver Lewis in 1875, a African-American man. So black jockeys went on to win 15 of the first 28 derbies until the ugly side of America showed up and our racist instincts kicked in and kicked black jockeys off the track. A lot of this history and stories are being uplifted by the Ed Brown Society. Ed Brown's an amazing horseman who was born a slave in Lexington, later became a jockey, became a Kentucky Derby winning trainer and Kentucky Oaks winning owner before he died in 1906. From the Lexington Herald leader, Greg Harbut, one of the founders of the Ed Brown Society, was the only black owner of a horse in the 2020 Kentucky Derby. Harbut's experience last year was much different than that of his grandfather, who wasn't allowed in the stands to watch touch bar a horse he bred and owned, competed in the 1962 Kentucky Derby. I will read that one more time. Touch Bar, a horse he bred and owned, compete in the 1962 Kentucky Derby. He could not watch it. He was an owner and he could not watch it. Really, truly shameful. Absolutely shameful. Kendrick Carmouche is actually scheduled to ride Bourbonic, which is a wonderful name. Bourbonic in this year's race, which would make him the first black jockey in the Kentucky Derby since 2013. So great to see Kendrick riding this year. Ray Daniels is the president of the Ed Brown Society. So the group is trying to help Black people get jobs at all levels in the industry. The organization has guided 30 Black people into horse ownership in the past few years. Also, Kimberly alerted me to the fact that there's a Black Jockeys Lounge, a new restaurant in Louisville on 4th Street, which is helping to lift up the fantastic history of Black jockeys and horsemen. So do check that out if you're looking for a place to grab a cocktail and some food there in Louisville for your Derby festivities. So, and then I think Kimberly, you had maybe another kind of touch point for Black history in the Derby.
Well, I was right there, and the people were climbing and trying to get up into the stands, and I was right there, and it was amazing. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, everybody knows him, bad boy for life, had a horse in the Derby. And that year that P. Diddy actually came to Louisville, Kentucky, it was a madhouse, an absolute, like the movie Animal House. I'll just leave you with that.